Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Aquarian Mind podcast. Today's podcast episode number 116. I'm your host, Jamel Crothers. It's Wednesday Motivation and Inspiration. And today, I really want to talk about just like enjoying your journey and doing something you love, right? So, the topic of discussion today is if you don't love it, don't do it. Quick little quote before we start. If you don't love what you do, you won't do it with much conviction or passion. That's a good one. I like that. Yeah. I find these quotes all over the place, and I enjoy finding these and sharing them with you. So, in today's world, we really get too caught up in, just doing things to get notoriety, fame, money, and not really being passionate about it. And prime example of this is like cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and Dogecoin and all of these like different things, being a trader and being a forex trader and all that stuff. And it's people get caught up in like doing these things, to make fast money or do things. People invest into the stock market because they want to make money so fast and live this lavish life and things of that nature. And people get caught up in just doing what's trending and not doing it because they love it. And we tend to follow trends and what's hot, obviously to make the quickest dollar. And society can sometimes brainwash us into thinking that money is the name of the game. And that's nowhere near the case. Because we're all meant to be doing something we love in life, no matter what it is. Now, don't get me wrong. We are all multi-talented in many things. So we should all delve into various things to figure out what we are great at. And the biggest advice I can give is if you don't love it, don't do it. And I'll give you an example of this. I have a really good friend that I've grown up with, and I've known him since he was like literally like little. So he's about 11, 12 years behind me. Yeah, he's about 12 years behind me. But he has older brothers that I'm best friends with also. But anyway, a few months ago he was talking about, going into medical billing and learning all that stuff. And, in my head, I knew that it wasn't going to work to his benefit. And I'm not being negative in regards to it. I'm looking at it from a landscape of who he is, what he's about, and his environment that he grew up in. And he's not a book guy, a study guy, whatever the case is. That's number one. Number two, he's not a desk job guy. He's never had a desk job a day in his life. He's been on his feet, moving around, hands on, things of that nature. And that's been what he's been doing since he was a young teenager working. And that's, there's nothing wrong with that. Um, you know, Being the guy that's on their feet and, putting things together and moving around and things of that nature, that's what really keeps stores going. That's what keeps society moving, things of that nature, right? So not too long ago, we had a conversation and he told me that didn't quite work out. And I told him, I knew it wasn't going to work out for you. I just couldn't tell you because I needed you to learn and figure out that that's not what you should be doing with your life. And I have literally told him recently that he needs to like really take time to think about what he wants to do with his life and what he's passionate about. And he's in his late 20s, so he has time. It's not like he doesn't. He doesn't have kids, he doesn't have car payments, and he doesn't have all that stuff. He doesn't have all of these major responsibilities that a lot of us have to, carry on our shoulders from day to day. And what I'm trying to say is that we all need to figure out what we're good at. And, he's looking into, the construction aspect of it now. And I'm like, okay, good. That's something I can see you doing because that's who you are. You're a guy who's moving around on a daily basis. That's been your mantra for over 10 years that you've been working. And, going into construction, that's what really keeps society going. Construction is how I'm able to be in my apartment right now recording this podcast. The construction workers allow me to live the life that I live for the most part. They give me the opportunity to have lights and a shower running, and I'm able to go to the supermarket. They're the ones who built those, right? So I don't knock the blue collar workers. Too many other people in the world do, but that's another story. And what I'm trying to say is that we get lost in thinking that we need to make all of this money and this and that. And that's what he talks about a lot. I'm trying to get my money. I'm like, that's great. You can make your money and be great, but if you make your money and you're not happy, where's that getting you? Right? So the reason why I say all of this, let's just say you do something for money, right? You're doing great, you're living a great life, and then all of a sudden, you're not as financially successful anymore. The market changes, and the money isn't there anymore, and now you're back to square one, right? So, what I say is be willing to do something you love, and depending on what field you're in, you're willing to do it for free, if you love it that much. And for the passion of it. And it's to fall in love with your calling and what you're good at and what you can bring to the world. Because it's important to live a life of purpose and not let our talents and gifts go to waste. Because I've seen it too many times where people are, just doing something just to do it because it makes good money. And it's great and it's cool, but guess what? It's like people investing into real estate all like suddenly, like, oh, I want to do real estate. And it's just like, okay, that's great. But the stock market changes and the real estate business changes on a day-to-day basis. It's not like, real estate's great all the time. And no, it just depends on the state you live in, the city you live in. There's a lot of factors that go into real estate. And it's great to make investments. Don't get me wrong. But you gotta love it, and you gotta do it on an everyday basis. You have to want it every day. It's not I'm just doing it just to do it. And the people that I see that are investing into real estate, like, and I listen to podcasts and things of that nature, and I see like athletes investing into real estate. But the thing is they love it, and they like it, and they enjoy doing it. And I was listening to this newer podcast. It's called The Pivot, and it's with 3 former NFL athletes. Hall of Famer and running back Fred Taylor. He played for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New England Patriots, but everyone knows him as Jacksonville Jaguar. Ryan Clark, who was a Super Bowl champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's also an ESPN NFL analyst. And Channing Crowder, who was a linebacker for the Miami Dolphins for the majority of his career. And then they were doing an interview, and Channing Crowder talks about he does investing in real estate, and so does Fred Taylor, and that's a great thing because they love it, right? And they had this big interview with Alex Rodriguez, and obviously everyone, for the most part, knows who Alex Rodriguez is. He's one of the best baseball players of all time, and he did get caught up in a scandal during his career. But you know what? Everyone makes mistakes, and I still love the guy, and it's only because I'm a Yankees fan, but that's another story for another day. I'm a New Yorker, and I did grow up 20 minutes from Yankee Stadium as a young child, so don't grit your teeth and start saying things about me while you're listening to this. But anyway, point I'm trying to make is that Alex Rodriguez talks about his real estate investments and all the things that he was doing, and you can hear the passion in his voice and his business ventures and all the things that he was doing, and he enjoys it because he's giving opportunities to people to live the way they want to live and comfortably, and he's looking to continually build and make the city of Miami better and invest into a whole bunch of other cities and things of that nature. And that's when I realized, like, okay, listening to him makes me realize that my passion and what I'm doing as far as my writing and telling the stories, I'm on an amazing journey of my own. And it's a journey of my own because, you know, God has blessed me with the gift to write and storytell since I was 13 years old. It's just I didn't fully immerse myself in it until I was in my early 30s. So I don't want you guys to think that you guys have to do something that you don't love. Like, if you don't love your job, you can find something else that's going to work for you. If you're doing something as you're doing a business venture, for an example, and you don't want to do it anymore and you want to change the realm of it, then do that. This podcast a few years ago was all about all of the atrocities that were going on in the world, and I was speaking on all of those things. And after a while, I just didn't want to do it anymore. I did it for like 2 years, and I said, okay, it's time to revamp my podcast and figure out what I want to do. And I decided, okay, well, the blogs that I'm writing, I need to turn it into audio format because let's just say people don't have time to really sit and read, but it's easier to listen to my voice. So I said, you know what? Podcast is going to be 3 days a week. I'm going to turn my blogs into a podcast, and I revamped my whole podcast. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm happy as ever. Now, all of the content that I did record previously, I still have that stuff, but it's for my own purpose, and it is for me to bust out years down the road or something, like when I want to reflect. But I want you guys to be happy with what you're doing. I want you guys to be passionate. Life is not about 9 to 5, come home, pay your bills, and not have a life. Okay? Life is not 2 to 3 vacations a year if you're lucky. It's really doing what you want to do with yourself. And it's up to you if you're really going to put that work into what you're passionate about and what you love. And I talk about this at great length to so many people, and I preach this like I'm a pastor in a church. Like, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And that quote really does apply. I don't write as many books as I do if I didn't have a passion for it. I don't record these podcasts, and I'm not up to 116 podcasts as we speak without me having a passion and love for it. So I'm not saying go follow in my footsteps, but I am saying carve your own path and do what you love and do what you're happy about, because you don't want to be 70, 80 years old saying, damn, I wish I did this, or damn, I wish I did that. So let's get out of that mindset too. And with that said, that's my podcast for today. I thank you guys for listening. As always, be good, everyone, and go accomplish your goals.